Hello and welcome, developers. My name is Shay, and this is another episode of Shay Develops. Today, we're going to be talking about the keyword static in Java, and we're going to be creating a class and using static methods and fields to show how they interact and where they belong in Java. Now, static methods and fields belong to the class and not an instance of the class. And if you don't understand that right away, that's totally fine. I'm going to show you guys an example of how to make that a bit more apparent. So let's go ahead and create a new Java class, and we'll call it students. Make that a little bigger. So our students are going to have a name, make that a string, and they'll have, let's say, an ID value of an integer. And then we also want to keep track of the number of students that we have, right? So as of right now, whenever we create this students class, we're going to have to, in our constructor, give it a value. So we could come over here and do constructor and give all three of them. But let's go ahead and just do 2. Actually, we're going to erase the ID part, and we'll just go ahead and set the ID to 0, and we'll go ahead and do number of students plus plus. So whenever I run this, it's going to add number of students. It's going to add 1 to the number of students, which has currently been given a value of 0, and it's going to stay a value of 0 until we give it the static keyword. I'm going to show you guys that here in just a moment. So let's also create some getters and setters. Let's do actually just getters. I don't need setters. And then let's go ahead and create an object of our students class. So we can do students. We'll call them student1 equals new students, and we have to bypass. We have to give it a name. A name will be Timmy. Yeah, great. So the name's Timmy. So now we can output dot get name as an ID of and we'll just leave it at that for right now. So whenever we run this, it's going to output the student name and the ID. Let's also output there are and we'll output that many students here. Let's go ahead and run this, and as you might expect, it's going to work like a normal instantiation of a class. We've created our class object of student1, and then now we are outputting the information from our system.out.println, which is the student name has an ID of 0, which makes sense. We passed this ID of 0, and there are currently 1 students. Well, what happens if I want to make another student? Let's go ahead and just copy this right here, and we'll do student2. We'll call him Billy. Oh, I got an error here. There we go. Run that again. Alright, so Timmy has an ID of 0, Billy has an ID of 0. That makes total sense, but there are only 1 student, but I have 2 students here. And that is how, like, so you see that disconnect from what we want and what the program is providing us. Well, that is how static the static keyword can help us out. So if we go back here into students and we add static here, now that we've separated it from being used in an instance of the class, which is it still can be used in an instance of the class. So you can see here student 2 dot number of students, and even if this was student 1, we would still get the exact same answer. But you see how we have instantiated the class. That still works, but you don't need to use it that way. And a matter of fact, you probably shouldn't. You can use students dot get number of students, but we can't use students dot get number of students yet until we set it as well into as static. Otherwise, the Java Virtual Machine, the JVM, doesn't like that and gives us an error saying you can't reference a static method in a non-static, or a static field in a non-static method, which makes sense whenever you think about it. All right, so we have our two we have our static field and our static method, and then we want to mess around with this ID. We're just going to put number of students. So, and let's go ahead and we're going to move this down 1 here. All right, so it gets ran after. But now whenever we create our students class and then we run this, we should have 2 students, and we do. And you'll notice Timmy now has an ID of 1 and Billy has an ID of 2 because it's getting the number of students value, which is staying constant from the instantiation of the student. So I mean, it's not exactly saying constant because it is changing each time you create a new instance of the student's class, but it's not going back to its original default value. It's not going back to, when in an integer's sake, it's not going back to 0. It's staying at the value that it was whenever you previously ran it. So like I said here, down here, we don't have to use student 2. We could use and should use students dot get number of students. And what this will do is it'll come down here to our static method and get how many number of students we have from here. So if we ran this again, it's gonna work just fine. As you can see here, same output. Oh, didn't mean to do that. But if I was to comment out all this stuff, and we haven't even instantiated any students, meaning we haven't created a student's class yet, or haven't used the student's class to instantiate an object, this will still work because it's not part of the instantiated object. It's part of the class itself. And since we have access to the class, we know that there are 0 students in this class. Or, well, yeah, well, obviously there's 0 students in this class because we haven't even created it yet. But that is the power of static and how that works. Alright guys, but hopefully y'all learned something. That was just a quick video on the static keyword in Java. There are several more videos to come, so please hit that like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification icon for more videos. Hit me up in the comments, tell me what I'm doing good, tell me what I'm doing bad, and how I can change, how I can help service or help you guys learn better. Like I said, stay tuned though for more videos coming up in the future. We're going to be talking about all kinds of stuff, and we're going to be building full-fledged projects here soon. So stay tuned for those. I really look forward to those. Until next time, you guys are awesome. Take care. Have a good day.